A-League has its Dun-DEENEY moment as the Central Coast pinch it late against the Jets. Glory blow a 2-0 lead in their season opener, but have they turned a corner? And Ange Postecoglou given his marching orders after just 39 days. Welcome to the Far Post Perth podcast, powered by ID Athletic. Download the latest football catalogue, idathletic.com. Great to have you with us. Blayne Treadgold alongside James Renton. Welcome back.
Thank you, Blayne.
Got Jaxon Bassett with us.
Hello.
And Neil Sherwin.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Marquee signing.
Thanks for having me.
Re-signing.
Re-signing, my apologies.
Re-signing. Couldn't offload him.
No, wasn't many offers in the off-season.
No, couldn't imagine. So, boys, how's the week been? Been good?
It has been.
Yeah?
Is that a cue for a good, bad and ugly?
Well,
I've got it because I've got a good.
All right, well, yeah, kick us off.
I'm going to have my Euro stop moment. Manchester United beating Liverpool. That was my good. For me, we've seen those clashes over the years, particularly Anfield, be absolute disasters for United. And the way that we were able to go over there and have a fairly strong performance, get a good result. I've been having, debates with all sorts of United fans over whether Ruben Amorim's system and his way of playing is the right way for us. But, I think it's over the last 5 years or something, there has been no coach that has won away at both the Etihad and Anfield than Ruben Amorim in the Prem. So, maybe it is a turning corner, but I think with the game against Brighton coming up, that might even be, in some ways contradictory, a bigger challenge than playing Liverpool. But for me, I had the Cheshire cat grin with a few of my colleagues this morning at work, a few Liverpool fans. So, I was very happy with that.
I remember when City were shit and these games, used to put a smile on my face. It's just settling for mediocrity. United are still terrible. They were battered. They should have lost the game. And it just made it even funnier because United are terrible and Liverpool are in a slump. So
2 points behind Liverpool, though.
Great weekend.
There you go. Jaxon, what's been good?
I was tossing up between two, either Bayswater in the Oz Championship or the F3 Derby, because that was an absolute classic. I heard someone describe it as Crocodile DunDeeney.
Oh, sack whoever did that.
I like that.
It was such an entertaining game and the perfect way to kick off the season. It seemed like the vibe and the atmosphere was pretty good down in the Central Coast. I think they surprised everyone because I think everyone came into that game with the assumption that Newcastle were going to run all over the top of them.
Yep.
And they got the early goal through Badalado, which was a screamer itself. And the Mariners got back into it, took the lead early on. And then the whole last-minute drama with the penalty save with Redmayne and that whole redemption arc in his first game back at his home club, and then that finish as well just capped off a pretty good weekend for our great league here in Australia.
Do you know what I thought of, though? It's still like all these great moments. It's a bit of tongue-in-cheek to put it in the same category as the Dun-DEENEY Watford playoff moment, but it's a great moment for our league. But what pisses me off is that you can have these great moments and they still fail to cut through mainstream media.
Yeah,
you wonder what more you can actually do. Like if you're the A-League or APL, you'd be throwing your hands in the air and saying,
"What do we do?
What can we actually do about this? Is there anything we can do about this?"
You just got to hope for a Puskas winner or some sort of incredible bicycle kick.
Even that probably wouldn't get much coverage, to be honest.
Exactly.
And you look through, and I'm not a huge watcher of mainstream media news and stuff like that. There's stuff all over the Premier League. Like Ange was all over Channel 7, 9, 10 this week, but there was very, very little about the A-League, which pisses me off.
Because the A-League doesn't register with the average person on the street.
That's
the
a good
Premier
point.
League does.
But even a moment like that, even like a play of the day kind of style moment like that.
Honestly, they just don't care. People just don't care.
Is it the people don't care, or is it the TV executives don't care?
It's a chicken and egg scenario. I don't believe that the masses care enough, and yes, it's partly because it's not pushed enough. But are you going to push something that people don't really care about? I mean, the Ange Postecoglou story is global news. They have to cover it. A-League. Yeah.
But I mean, to that point though, they covered Manchester United
again. Manchester United are the richest club in the world.
I don't know. As I said, like And it's, I mean, that might not be the greatest example, but very, very rarely will you get much.
It's a valid point.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, as I said, you have these great moments and they're not being reported on merit. Do you know what I mean?
Yep, 100%.
But yet they'll still do a player of the day in the NBA.
Yeah, it should get its fifth.
I just don't think it cuts through enough.
Yeah.
And it probably never will.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right.
It should get its 15 to 30 seconds of fame. Like,
Just-
even
yeah.
like in a,
Should do.
it doesn't have to be a massive feature.
I
just
wonder
a
how
small
it
little
actually.
bit.
I wonder if it did up there. I mean, I'm sure it probably would have through Newcastle on the Central Coast on their local kind of news. I wonder if it cut through in Sydney. I'd be really.
But you have to
interested.
remember, right? Manchester United, NBA, NFL, none of them are a rival to the status quo in Australian sport.
Yeah.
Right? Football is potentially biggest grassroots sport and everything else. If you are an AFL focused media organisation, you can get away with, you have to cover football in some way, so you might as well cover the furthest football away from you as possible.
Yeah.
You're not going to start promoting something that could potentially rival your niche sport, for example.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
and that's
it's an editorial decision.
Yeah. Interesting. Keep us going, mate. with your good.
So my good. Look, I wasn't able to make it to HBF Park at the weekend. I was on parental duty. So I did what any good parent would do on a Saturday when there's football on. Myself and my 10-month-old daughter watched 5 games back to back because the A-League returned with 3 games. We were straight into Premier League. There was all sorts of highlights. She had the best day of her life so far, and it was great because I have this little lull period between the AFL season finishing because I'm a massive AFL fan. And the A-League starting. There's a massive gap on my Saturdays. I have no interest in NRL. I think it's shit. So there's just that I'm at a loss now on a Saturday that I don't go out drinking anymore as much as I used to, or my own football season is finished. And the A-League came back and there was 3 games in a row and it was fantastic. So having that, that the way they've structured it now with 3 games. People complain about Perth being the late game and all that. Well, for me, it could not be any better. The last game of the day kicks off at 6:45 p.m. It was overlapping a little bit with the Premier League, and then you get straight into the Premier League games. The goal rushes on at 10 o'clock. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
What a day.
Yeah.
What a day.
And I mean, I'm just going to hijack that a little bit and go straight into my good. The Oz Championship before it as well. I mean, if you're an early riser, then you can. Over here in the West, I think the first game starts at like 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Like that's
that'd be about right, yeah.
It's proper hangover material.
Mate, it's get up and eat your cornflakes in front of the telly kind of style. It's brilliant. My good, just the Oz Championship, it's brought a new element to football in Australia. We spoke about it last week, but we got a kind of second dose. It does kind of, there is a bit of a battle for eyeballs with the A-League. The same people that are probably getting ready for a game would be the same people that would be tuning in on a Saturday. But I want to ask off the back of that, I think it's great. What's the benchmark to see this as a success in its first year?
Survival.
Yeah.
Is it simply sustainability and
that they
financial
look at it and
survival?
go, this is not going to be a competition that dies after a year because nobody gave a shit about it.
Yeah.
It's got to be a year and then 2 years and then 3 years and so forth. For me, it's just survival and that it is sustainable to do again next year. That's all I really care about. Because if it dies after year 1, we'll never get promotion relegation.
Yeah. I think it's been great with SBS coming on board. I think that's like the
their coverage has been fairly good.
That's the perfect fit for those clubs as well. I mean, even the older people, they'll remember the old NSL on SBS and the World Game on a Sunday afternoon that used to sift through all the results and.
I also do think it's very important that Bayswater are in it. I mean, I have no affiliation with them, or I don't really care about them at a local level, but it is important to have WA representation there, and obviously they've good results so far. So, because otherwise we would feel, we're on the outside looking in. Now you could feel included as a WA football fan, and I think that's critical that it's an all-encompassing competition rather than just your Eastern Seaboard, and that's it. So I think the WA representation is important, and hopefully that's sustainable. That Bayswater don't lose a ton of money and go to your clubs. Geez, it was an absolute disaster for us money-wise.
Yeah.
hopefully that can be sustained as
Yeah,
well.
get out to there was plenty of people, like neutrals on my timeline, that kind of got out to it. So that was really, really good. But I think it needs just a little bit more to get there on a Sunday.
that's fair.
Sunday's a harder day, I think, for some people. It's generally a family kind of a day. I think a Saturday afternoon's just more of a traditional football time slot. But
Yeah.
Also, but they're trying not to go head to head with the A-League at the same time.
Well, this
so
is
it's a
this is
problem.
the battle.
There's
as
more.
well.
There's more, and I fucking hate the term clean air on a
Clean
Sunday.
air.
On a Sunday, yeah.
James, what's been bad?
Sydney FC. That was a sluggish performance if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure on Sydney. They've invested a heck of a lot in their team. I would wager that they were one of the heaviest spenders out of any A-League side this off-season with some of the imports that they've brought in.
Is Ufuk Talay odds on first to get the arse at the moment?
Yeah, you'd have to be.
Yep.
Yeah, because you've got some good coaches that are available, and I don't exactly think it was a massive show of confidence giving him a 1-year extension when they did, and I think there's a lot of angst among the fan base, among the Sydney FC fans, and I just think you'd be expecting a little bit more from their inputs in particular. They've got their Spanish striker who was missing so many opportunities. It looked very amateur. Their Peruvian attacking midfielder didn't look too good. And their new centre-back, Tisserand, I thought he got caught out by Adelaide's players quite a fair bit, and even structurally. Adelaide, who I think many were thinking are going to have a pretty tough year, they found all sorts of ways to break Sydney FC's structure and create lots of opportunities, and they were pretty fun to watch. So, I think Talay is absolutely on the hot seat and probably, the odds on to get the ump.
But you talk about how much money they've spent and all that, and they should be high flying. But I looked at their midfield before the game started, and it's Yuli and Ocon Engsler, 2 20-year-olds.
Yep. Is it balanced? That's the better question.
I don't think they need some experience in there alongside them. I think that midfield will get destroyed by a lot of teams. You can have Lolly and whatnot, but
even Lolly looks slow coming back in transition. So I think there's concerns if you're Ufuk Talay.
Keep us going, mate.
I'm running out of options now. But I had Sydney pinned as a potential ugly as well, just because they.
Yeah.
I also had Adelaide down as one of the teams down the bottom. So for Sydney to have all this hype and all these big signings come in and fail to deliver off the bat is not a great sign. It's been a pretty good week. So I had Liverpool chucked in as a bad because it's a good for me as a Man United fan. But I do agree going back to the early conversation that it's easy enough to play defensive and let Liverpool have the ball and defend deep. Now the challenge for Man United will be to, home game against Brighton.
Evolve.
When you have more of the ball and when you're playing the teams who are,
go on, say it.
Lower down the table.
Yeah, your level.
Yeah, okay, yeah, maybe, yeah.
We're in the top half now, I think, to be fair.
Just about.
Yeah.
But a team who's probably going to be more comfortable sitting back and, letting us have the ball, that will be the bigger challenge.
Fair enough. Keep us going.
My bad, and it's a bad, not an ugly, is Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah,
It's
right.
bad, and it's not for the reasons people are saying. The owner pulled the trigger really early. It's actually that Ange did a really bad job there. We are very Ange positive and very supportive of him. And you say a bad word about Ange, we'll come get you on social media. There's all of that, but his record was terrible. Like that's fundamentally what the problem is. He went into a club, a Premier League club, who did well last season and didn't win a single game. So I get that Marinakis pulls trigger pretty quickly. He's cutthroat, but you need to deliver results. You can't. The Premier League is not a place that you can necessarily go into and not be under pressure for a year or so. You can't cruise along. And he got Spurs, did a good job in some aspects, but also did a really bad job in the league last year. And I know he sacrificed league games for European goodness and whatnot, but he still got 17th in the Premier League on his record as a Tottenham manager. It's not good. So going in with Forest, he needed to hit the ground running to a point, as in at least win a couple of games. It was difficult to compete on two fronts with a limited squad. I agree with that in Premier League and Europe. But he knew that before going there. So he still took the job. I don't blame him for taking a Premier League job because they don't come around very often. But his record is terrible. It's an awful, awful record. And it will probably stand against him now for future endeavours. So we're very patriotic towards Ange, and he's a great coach, and he's won trophies, and he does it, and he absolutely has. But this was bad, really shocking record at Nottingham Forest, and I actually don't blame them for firing him. I didn't think he'd see out Christmas. The fact he didn't make it to Halloween was a bit of a surprise, but I'm not surprised that the owner just said, "No, this is not working."
Was everyone just too trigger happy in signing him in the first place? Because all signs suggested that he wasn't the man that was going to dig them out of a hole. I mean, he's a project coach over a period of time. He needs time.
Look what they've done now. They've appointed Sean Dyche, right?
Well, he's
a fixer who'll come in as a motivator and everything else.
Correct.
And they've also brought in Steve Stone and Ian Woan, and people of my vintage will remember them as players in the 90s for Forest. And
where's Big Sam? Why isn't it Big Sam?
Well, Steve Stone was the right winger. Ian Woan was the left winger in the Forest team in the mid 90s. And they've brought them in and as assistants, and it's shrewd because they're club legends, right? The fans will get behind them immediately. I feel like Ange didn't have that. No. He didn't have somebody in his back room that the fans could buy into culturally. And as soon as he dropped a couple of games, it was toxic. So I actually don't think it was a bad move to get rid of him. As much as if you say anything bad against Ange, you're getting pelters.
I'm going to keep the bad going. I'm going to stay overseas as well. My Leeds are having a shocking time at the moment, but the bad part is just dropping stupid points in games that you need to be winning to stop yourself going into relegation scraps. Now we're back in a relegation scrap. Lost to Burnley, dropped points against Newcastle, Fulham and Bournemouth. I mean, they're sides that you need to be picking up.
You were warned about this when they got promoted.
Well, I know.
This was exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, I know, but these are the games. Had they were firmly in these matches as well. That's they haven't been played off the park by anyone except for Arsenal, which we're expecting. But getting done by Burnley at Turf Moor.
Yeah, but Burnley would look at that and go, that's a winnable game for us.
Well, 100% right. But I think most Leeds fans were going in and saying, "Hey, look, we're not going to do anything, but I think we can stay up." Now we're firmly in that relegation.
Well, you got a good opportunity now against West Ham.
Oh, we do.
So,
yeah.
I mean, that should be in theory.
Or West Ham will play themselves into form.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's what you're looking at now.
Yeah.
Leeds are seen as a team that other teams are licking their lips playing Leeds.
Yeah.
That's the problem you've got now, is that there's no, we got Leeds this week. Great. That's hopefully 3 points.
Yeah.
You're in that sort of category now, unfortunately.
I'm expecting a big window in January, to be honest. I think, as we've spoken about before.
When has panic buying in January solved anything?
Well, I wouldn't say panic buying, but I think that they'll reevaluate where a few players are at.
Sack the manager.
You know what's funny?
Just get Big Ange in.
You've got, because Leeds, technically, according to the XG table, they should be 7th.
This is we were on the brink of the top 10. Had we got a couple of results, we're away.
Who's your centre forward?
Calvert-Lewin.
And
exactly there you go.
Well, yeah.
Right. Okay. So
Grim.
that when you're down there, there's a difference. You look at some of the other clubs that are down there. I mean, Forest down there now got Chris Wood, right? You've still got a player that you can rely on for goals to the point around XG, and it's not my forte, but you've got to be taking chances.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and Calvert-Lewin picked up off a scrap heap, and possibly a decent second striker and somebody that you bring on to
not
put the ball
main
up to, but he's your starting number 9, you're in trouble.
Yep, agreed. Uglies, let's get through them, boys.
Yeah, I had Ange, and I just think, the bit of a niche point, but I understand, but I also don't like why he feels like he has to pick fights within press conferences, let's say, and have to justify his record, for example. I recall he had his presser where he was explaining why Tottenham were what they were, and he was just sort of saying, I don't fit here, and if you get every second year, I'll win a trophy type thing. And I just think, he kind of sets himself up to be in a difficult position. I was listening to, and bear with me, I was listening to TalkSport, and they were having their coverage about it, and I think it was like Martin O'Neill was talking about how Mourinho, when he started to do that respect line when he was Manchester United's manager, it just sort of went downhill from there, and you're not really giving yourself a platform to try and build something. But I completely agree with Neil's point in the sense that, Ange needed to get some results. And for as much as you can be a project manager, A lot of the underlying numbers, I know you're not a fan of XG, Neil, but it's all good. It was very concerning, and particularly set pieces, which is something that, in theory, Sean Dyche will fix. But just a disappointing situation for Ange, and I'll be intrigued to see where his next opportunity will be.
What's been ugly, Jaxon?
Just Forest in general. Even aside from the Ange stuff, and yes, the results were pretty poor. But even like the last game against Chelsea, like there did seem to be a bit of improvement, but it's just not right. Ange wasn't the right appointment, and I think off the field as well with Marinakis as the owner, like the whole thing is just an absolute shambles. And it's a shame because they were so good last year, and this was a chance for them to continue that momentum and build and become a team that can be like Brighton, for instance, a team that is just consistently mid-table, or Palace, teams that are consistently mid-table and proven Premier League teams. But now it's a situation where it looks like they're back down in the dumps. And I don't know if you saw one of the reports that potentially that Marinakis might appoint himself as an interim manager.
Bloody hell!
I don't get his whole mindset, and also the fact that he left half an hour before the game as well. Like that's also a pretty shitty look. Imagine if Pelligra left half an hour through a glory drubbing. Imagine.
Well,
he does.
I could see that.
maybe down the pipeline.
Well,
horses' heads.
I'll keep it short because we'll go into the next one. 29% possession at home. That was ugly from Glory. Really, really horrible. Sign every midfielder on the planet in the off-season and can't control the middle of the park. Yeah, it was bad. Really, really tough to watch. And it was a continuation of having less possession. That was a trend we saw last season as well. Very rarely did they ever get above the 50%. And now it's slumped below 30% in the first home game of the season. So, yeah, that was very, very ugly and a big contributing factor to the outcome of the game.
My ugly, boys, it's a bit of a funny ugly, though, but that was Luke Palmateer's tackle against Metro Stars on the weekend.
Kevin Muscat.
It was last man. It was in the air. It was scissored.
Oh, it's a definite red card. I mean,
was
but
if
you can get away with it,
100%.
If you can get away with a yellow card for that, it's an amazing tackle, and you do it. But it was pretty early on-ish.
It was
risky.
I mean, the Bayswater players were going in there because there was the clash between Oli Legalia and one of the Metro Stars players, and then there was that, and it got highlighted in the highlights package by.
Look, the other one that was there was that was more of a coming together than a challenge. The ball was there sort of thing. This one was a scissors tackle around the knees, and I mean, you could not argue if a red card was given.
We did post that on the socials, and we got the laughing emoji from Luke himself. So big shout out to Luke and the Beijing boys.
I did see a suspicious comment from someone who shared the same surname as the referee, saying the ref got the two decisions spot on. What a coincidence! And look, in credit to the ref, because we mentioning names. Are we mentioning?
No, we won't.
Well, he's a good ref. He's worked his way up through the local leagues, and I've abused him many a time on a Sunday.
Well.
So he's actually very, very good, and he's done some high profile games. So it's good to see a young WA referee getting out there. But he definitely should have given a red for that one.
Good stuff. Well, we might take a bit of a break on that note. We'll come back out the other side. You're on the Far Post Perth podcast.
What a run! This could be the one! It's in! That's what it's all about! And when it comes to sports gear that helps you perform your best, ID Athletic has the winning formula. From grassroots clubs to elite athletes, ID Athletic provides high-quality sporting apparel, screen printing, embroidery, and made-to-order promotional products. Proud sponsors of the Far Post Perth and passionate supporters of WA community sport. Visit ID Athletic at 84 Howe Street, Osborne Park, or online at idathletic.com. ID Athletic. Build your identity.
Welcome back to the Far Post Perth podcast. Boys, let's have a little bit of a look and a bit of a post-mortem on the Glory on the weekend. It was a 2-2 result. Glory went 2-0 up through Jaden Kaczarski and Adam Taggart. before goals for Wellington, including former Glory man Carlo Armiento. James, where do we start? Should we start with the positives? Let's start with the positives.
Jaden Kaczarski will be an integral part of the attack this season. I think his threat with his speed in behind, his understanding already with Adam Taggart.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a very important player for us. Sebastian Despotovski had some good moments in that opening 10 to 15 minutes especially. I'm sort of struggling for positives here, but there were some good individual performances, and there was definitely effort and intent from the players. But I think, maybe it's me being a bit too cynical, but I think there are some fairly glaring negatives.
It always feels like a loss, these. I mean, you're 2-0 up, you're cruising.
Well, Zdrilic,
all of a sudden they get a goal before the halftime, and then second half is just polar opposite.
But Zdrilic said at the end of the game, we deserved to win. And he said he was, in the end, happy with a point, but he felt that we deserved to win. And I thought, well, for the first 25 minutes, given how naive Wellington's high line was and how poorly it was executed, I thought, we did well to exploit it. But then, Italiano outcoached David Zdrilic. So from there, he made the adjustment with the goalkeeper coming more off his line. Yeah. They didn't allow us to have those transition moments over the top, and they just kept possession really well. And you could just see that they are a well-drilled side. And, it doesn't matter if Glory have better players in the team. I think at the end of the day, there are structural issues that will be there, irrelevant of whoever's putting on the purple shirt.
Who's on the park. Jaxon, any positives?
Yeah, Despotovski and Kaczarski, definitely rightly so. I think Despotovski, rather, it looks pretty comfortable, and I didn't think that would be the case. I was surprised, but happy that he got given a chance to start, and just watching him and seeing his quick feet and the way he was able to get involved in that link-up play. Really good sign early that he could be an integral part of the team. I do wonder when we get the likes of Amos and Tom Lawrence fit, where does he fit into that system? Does he come on as an impact sub? He did look like he did run out of legs a little bit at the end. And then I know I'll put out something from a defensive point of view that I think is quite important as well, is that despite the fact that gave away 71% of the ball and, Wellington had 500 passes, I think positive to look at from the defensive point of view is that the fact that Wellington, we kept them to 11 shots and I think only 5 or 6 on target. So I think is that's an area that needed improvement. At least, they had the ball, probably not, we need to have more of the ball, absolutely, but I think the fact that we were able to be pretty solid for the most part defensively and not allow too many clear-cut chances, I think that's a massive improvement already on last season.
Neil, any positives?
I thought the initial approach to the game was very good in the sense that they identified the high line, they played 3 high forwards, and they just were direct. I mean, there's a difference between long ball football and direct football, right? They're just pumping the ball. But I did feel that as was mentioned, when Wellington adjusted their approach, Glory didn't shift with them. The sub he made at half-time was to bring a central midfielder on for a central midfielder.
Yeah.
It didn't get an extra body in there where they were being clearly overrun. And yes, you don't want to go into your shell, but you also do have to pivot as a game goes on. And I felt that was a glaring error for me, that the first half hour was amazing, but it wasn't sustainable for 90 minutes, especially when the opposition have tweaked. So I think the first half hour was great, that they knew that there was so much space in behind. Taggart, the way he bends his runs is fantastic, because as a defender, you are ready to step up and you know that you can play the striker offside. But if that striker runs and spins and just gets it right, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, he did get caught once in the second half by James, I think it was, when he timed the run right. But they were very effective. The other positive I actually wanted to touch on was Matt Sutton, because he arrived a few days before the game. He would have expected to sit on the bench, and Cam Cook's injury happens and he's thrown in to the team. He made a couple of good saves. He made a fantastic one that he tipped over the bar in the second half. And I thought, you bring in Western United's starting goalkeeper from last year. You've done well, because you've lost 2 goalkeepers now for how long we don't know. Probably very lucky that they're not having to throw the academy boys in there at this stage.
Yeah.
So I think Sutton was a positive and definitely someone that I'd be comfortable with between the posts. Having said that, I was an Ollie Sale fan last year, so I'm not giving Matt Sutton the kiss of death in week one.
And over the keys to the Ollie Sale fan club.
Well,
President.
There's a big X with Sale's name, and it's now Matt Sutton.
No longer in
Blayne,
operation.
So I thought he was good for a first game. Yeah, conceded 2 goals, dropped 1 or 2 maybe, but I think for a first outing, he's proven in the league as well.
So who's it like? So it's going to be him and Ryan Warner from the academy, isn't it?
Yes.
Is he still on the? He's still there?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So
yeah, pending what the deal is with Cook. You know how long
possible
that could be,
MCL.
So yeah, you're gonna be without Birighitti and Cook for at least a couple of months, I would say. So yeah, you're going in with, but you've got a proven starting goalkeeper. You're pretty lucky.
Here's a question: who's the goalkeeping coach now?
Christian Barberskak, German.
Okay.
So
where's he from?
Germany.
Yeah.
Thanks.
He was coaching in Iceland, I think Iceland or Finland last year or whatever. But I think he was with Freiburg for a few years.
Okay.
And I spoke to Cam Cook in the preseason game in Mandurah against Melbourne Victory, and I said, what are your thoughts on Christian? And he said, very, very good.
Yeah, okay.
Very good coach.
No,
so
interesting
some
times.
good feedback.
Boys, let's quickly go around the table. Negatives, keep it short and sweet, James, because we've only got an hour podcast to get through, buddy.
Yeah, so again, I just, as I alluded to before, I felt that Zdrilic got outcoached by Italiano, and I totally agree with Neil's point in that when Wellington made their changes, we couldn't adjust to it, and our model of trying to attack, it's been a problem for Glory for a long, long time. You know, they struggled to create sustainable attacking momentum that translates into consistent, high-quality chances. And if you look at some of the angles of Wellington's second goal, the way that they were able to do their up backs and throughs, Italiano's a big fan of Roberto De Zerbi, so the way that they pulled us apart was really impressive. And even for that first goal, if you just have a look at the defensive positioning of our line, you can see that Wales, Risdon and Wootton are already stepping up, while Kautak and Osler are dropping behind, so it's quite disjointed, and that allowed Eze to get in behind and score a fairly good goal. It's pretty impressive. So, yeah, definite question marks on Zdrilic's system, because, again, I think it's not a player problem now. It is on him. So it'll be interesting to see how we approach these next few games before the international break.
What shitted you off, Jaxon?
Not being able to keep the ball. That was probably the most frustrating thing. That even you go into halftime, you can see the late goal and they have like 85% possession. I would have thought there would be some sort of switch in the second half, some sort of message that, okay, like let's try and have let's try and control the ball a little bit more, get the game played on our terms. But whole second half was dictated by Wellington, pretty much. I mean, the Glory had momentum towards the end when they brought the subs on, but I think that was probably more of a case of crowd getting involved and a bit more fresh legs.
We're not an assertive team. We're a very reactive team, and we're dependent on the opposition.
Yeah, that's also what frustrated me. I think when you go 2-0 up and when you have all the momentum, I think we went into our shell way too early. I think that mindset should have been to kill the game off, get a third, try and even get a fourth.
Yeah.
But yeah, didn't happen. And then once Wellington had the momentum, there was no way for us to wrestle it back.
Yeah.
So that's also that's probably a coaching thing as well. But I think even as players though, they should be able to recognize that we need to try and let's just hold out until halftime. Let's just try and get our foot on the ball a little bit more. Let's not try and defend so deep. Those are the couple of things that frustrated me. That last hour was just not a great watch.
29% possession, 0.84 expected goals if you're into that type of thing. Total shots 9, shots on target 6, so accuracy wasn't too bad. 4 big chances, 3 of those missed, Neil. So, I mean, that suggests that despite the possession, they're still creating. They're still getting a lot up that end.
No, I disagree.
Disagree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vehemently, because those chances did not correlate into a higher, and XG is not a be-all or end-all stat.
Yeah.
It's purely suggestive, but in theory, if we created more big chances, then that should have correlated in a higher XG for us. But the fact that we didn't even clock above 1,
okay. I'm just going off what Mob's put out. So they've given us 4 big chances, 3 big chances missed. expected goals of 0.84. Read into that what you will, Mr.
Yeah,
Sherwin.
but those big chances, I mean, they were largely, again, that first 30 minutes, goal disallowed. And I think some better service into Taggart from wide areas, which was a problem last season. There was a couple of crosses went straight to the keeper from really good positions that were you could see the frustration with Taggart. For me, look, I would have taken, Freeney was the right sub to bring on because he can keep the ball. He's technically very good, but I would have taken off one of the front three instead of straight swap for a central midfielder. I would have gone with an extra body in the middle of the park as a number 10, because it was a 3-4-3 formation, right? You had Kaczarski and you had Despotovski either side of Taggart. You had a 4 in the midfield and you had a 3 at the back. So I would have adjusted and kept 2 up front, either Kaczarski or Despotovski, and then brought on Freeney for the other to hold the ball and try retain some possession. Sounds a bit more defensive, and maybe it is, but you're clearly getting overrun. You can't contain the ball, so bring on a player who can do that for you. I also think the back line, to James's point, was suspect. I think people were banging on about how good Kaltak was. He made a couple of last-ditch tackles.
There was a lot of emergency defending.
Yeah, and even Wooten hacking down someone now was another good foul. It was a proper
tackle.
defender's foul, and it was to stop a counter attack. Yeah. But I feel that there was they got away with some desperate defending that made them look possibly better than other teams might take advantage of that. And the other last thing I'll say is, I know there was a bit of frustration towards the end, but they got suckered in by Eze and his shithousery. I thought he was great, as a proper pantomime villain. He did a great job up front. Played really well, for a guy I had never heard of.
Good find.
Before coming to the league and playing this game, I thought he was good. He was hustle and bustle, physical. A problem, especially as the game opened up. He was very good. So just got a little bit suckered in by that and lost the heads towards the end and bought into his play acting and his diving and everything else, which he was going to do. I mean, he was holding different parts of the body every minute. It felt like. It was a few bad things, but for me, the biggest thing was not addressing the inability to hold the ball, and we've all agreed on that. You've got to tweak it. You've got to tweak the formation. You've got to tweak the style of play. Like for like subs in that situation is not enough as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
There was a lot of players missing. I mean, if this is where we're starting before these players come in, your Amos, your Penningtons, your Lawrence, your Timmins, your Sam Sutton. So, I mean, these are the best in the team in their relative positions. But there's a lot missing.
To not sound too dismissive, and I've got a lot of respect for those players, but a lot of those names that you mentioned, they have had injury issues over the last few years or so. Yeah. And the fact that, we are relying on players that, have struggled to maintain back-to-back blocks of 90 minutes at a high intensity is definitely a concern, but that should be one of the benefits having a squad of 33 or whatever. You should be able to compensate for that.
105.
Well, yeah, it's almost like a Chelsea kind of squad, but we should be compensating a little bit better for it.
But I think the problem is, Glory sound great on paper, and we've said this so many times. How long is it going to be before the possibility of having, never mind Amos and Lawrence, Pennington was only a bit part player at the weekend. Yep. Those three are your best midfield three. But where does Tom Lawrence fit in the system if he's going with a 3-4-3? For me, he should be a 10, right? But they're not playing with a 10. They're playing with a 9 and 2 narrow, wide forwards.
But Lawrence, in theory, should play better there rather than where he was deployed at times at Rangers where he was too deep.
Oh, yeah, but I want him, I want 2 8s standing in the centre circle, and he's told he doesn't need to defend.
Yep.
He goes and he plays 10 yards behind Taggart, and he plays centrally, he picks up the ball, and he dictates play. Yeah. I do not want to see him on the touchline. I don't want to see him in his own half. I want to see him, doing his job, the job we've been missing for
playing
years.
The likes of Tags and Kaczarski.
Playing in front. But the problem is, if you have a subpar 2 behind him, he probably will have to get his hands dirty, because we can't keep getting overrun in midfield by lesser teams. And Wellington would have been seen as a lesser team going into the game. No two ways about it. That would have been seen as a game that Glory should start the season with 3 points. For sure.
Yeah.
We'll have a look ahead to Melbourne City very, very shortly, boys. Other results. Quickly give me your one-liners as we get through these. Adelaide 2-1 over Sydney.
Concerns for Sydney, positive for Adelaide.
Yeah, good stuff for Adelaide.
Yep, good stuff. Brisbane.
Grubs.
Threw my predictions out the window with my
Grubs.
TV and everything else. And
Grubs. I loved Milo Stozowski's comments at the end where he was hoping for a better playing style from Brisbane, given that Volcanis has spent so much time in Europe, and then we saw what we saw where there was a few of the dark arts here and there, so didn't mind that.
And for goodness sake, get the hell out of Suncorp Stadium.
It was COVID. It was like a COVID game.
It was.
Get out of
it was
there,
terrible.
Yeah.
Can't stand it. Western Sydney 1-1 with Melbourne City.
I watched all the games on Saturday. It was a great start to the game. You had Barbarousis, the wily old fox, scoring, and then a minute later, the young gun Caputo at the other end,
and then nothing else happened.
We did need a stats cam though. To be fair, the amount of times he was blowing up at the lino or the fourth official, that was pretty entertaining.
Do you know what?
It was angry with the 15 jobs he's doing at the Wanderers.
What it did look like, and this is the kit nerd moment. Melbourne City were wearing navy/black shorts for the game, and it looked very much like a Sydney derby. They looked like Sydney FC with the light blue shirt, the dark shorts, and the light socks.
Yeah, right.
So,
it did look like that.
Very much. If you were just tuning in, you'd be wondering where all the pyro was.
Melbourne victory, Auckland boys. Who's happier with this result? 0-0. Is anyone?
I think Auckland. will be fine with that. They know they're going to be there or thereabouts. Not losing to a probably perceived rival to start the season. They're solid. They're a solid team. Victory, I've questions about them.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Would they be more happy that they've kept a rival to the league title scoreless and take away a point at home? I mean, would that satisfy them?
I just think Victory are going to be bang average until they have someone who can score regularly up front. Burgos is not the answer. Genro looked great.
Yeah,
really good. I was intrigued by the amount of smoke blown up Sam Cosgrove's arse before the game on commentary. The big man, and he's going to do all this. He's going to put himself bet. He's going to score goals for fun. A little bit shit for me, and he was all arms and legs. He didn't really do much. He got a yellow card for a lovely chop down on the halfway line, but really, didn't really do much at all. So I mean, look, Auckland are the sort of team that have the quality, like with Brimmer and De Vries. Their deliveries. If you've got a big strapping lad up front, potentially you can get something from that. So they'll be fine. They'll be thereabouts. But Victory, I mean, they didn't have a couple of players available, and they also started Wamata on the bench, and all the excitement and everything else. He played 22 minutes and did nothing. So they're a bit average for me.
We obviously Perth and Wellington 2-2. The chaos on the Sunday. Central Coast Mariners 3, Newcastle 2. Your Central Coast Mariners, James?
Shit, I know. And I said Newcastle were going to wipe the floor with them last week, I think. So there goes my takes on predictions. But no, it was fantastic for the Mariners.
Yeah.
They had their backs up against the wall, and, a lot of shit's happened to them.
I'm going to give a big shout out. I know it's not far down the road, but I really like the turnout from Newcastle. I mean, that's what that turnout should be every single time.
Yeah, aesthetically, it looked really good to see them in that section.
Well, I think there was more there than there was in the Mariners home end, to be perfectly honest.
It did look
hard, but considering where Newcastle had been in previous years, it seems like there's a little bit of excitement, at least for now.
Yeah.
Big concerns about the Mariners, not just on the field, but off it. Like they've no updates on the games, no social media presence, no anything.
They've outsourced their social media
to a terrible company. From what I've looked up of their stuff, it's really bad. It's so generic. There's nothing nice about it at all. Like it really is a sad state of affairs that they're doing that to an agency who's just ticking a box. It's when you read the releases, I think they said in the same article about Jaxon that he won a treble and won a double.
Yeah,
Jaxon, both.
Yeah, I saw that.
Just people that don't understand the game. So whereas the Mariners are a club that has always prided themselves on that community feel, understanding everything. And now they've got this sort of content being churned out. It's a bit shit.
Nah, rubbish. All right, boys, let's take a break there. We'll have a bit of a look ahead. We'll ask some burning questions, and we'll head into the final part of the Far Post Perth podcast next.
What a run! This could be the one! It's in! That's what it's all about! And when it comes comes to sports gear that helps you perform your best, ID Athletic has the winning formula. From grassroots clubs to elite athletes, ID Athletic provides high-quality sporting apparel, screen printing, embroidery, and made-to-order promotional products. Proud sponsors of the Far Post Perth and passionate supporters of WA community sport. Visit ID Athletic at 84 Howe Street, Osborne Park, or online at idathletic.com. ID Athletic. Build your identity.
Final part of the Far Post Perth podcast. Big thanks to ID Athletic. Don't forget to download the football catalogue. They've got it right there on their website. You can order your kits for next season for your club, idathletic.com. Boys, we did mention it off the top. A Bayswater big win over Metro Stars. So an away draw, a win at home, and they host Apia, or West's Apia as they're now known, this weekend.
It's exciting.
Look, if they can pick up another point here, they are in the window to go through.
Yeah, they can start to dream a little bit.
Absolutely, they can.
Yeah, they're in a very-
It's that old adage of kind of win at home, draw away. Like that's got to be the mantra. And they're not taking a backwards step either. Like we spoke about that tackle and a few other. They're just getting stuck in. So, get out to Frank Drago this Sunday. I think it's about a 1:30 kickoff again. They stay at home. So
Yeah, same as last week.
Yeah, so it should be pretty good. Get out to that. Boys, round 2 of the A-League kicks off Friday night. We'll get some tips and any other talking points. Newcastle hosting Melbourne. Victory, James.
Victory.
Newcastle.
Victory always struggle in that game.
They do.
I'll say Newcastle. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the draw. But I think Newcastle might be. They'll want to prove a point after last week and their first home match. This is a beauty. This is match of the round for me. Auckland hosting the Wanderers.
Auckland.
1-1.
Yeah, draw. Yeah.
I'm going to pick Auckland at home in that. Melbourne City v Perth, boys. Let's just, we won't go too deep, but is this a real danger game for Perth as far as the score?
Considering that Melbourne City just beat Burram United 2-1 late on in the Asian Champions League league.
Is that at home or away?
Yep.
Okay.
So they'll be coming into this game with a lot of confidence, and so it'll be a bit of a danger game, I think.
Yep. Jaxon?
Yeah, I'm still high on Melbourne City. So, yeah, definitely a potential worry, especially if they let City have all of the ball.
They're all danger games.
Yeah, true.
I meant more in terms of the scoreline.
I don't think they'll get beaten 8-0 or anything like that, but I don't see anything to suggest that they'll win the game. No. So my optimism is they won't lose 8-0.
Fair enough.
Mr. Ruster optimistic over there.
Someone has to keep the glass half full.
Yeah. I'm just hoping. I really just hope. I think Glory fans will just hope there's a few more bodies back.
Lawrence, hopefully his visa will be sorted by then.
Yeah, is that all it is? Is it a fitness thing and a visa, or is it just a visa? Is he?
I think it might be a visa because he's. when I was speaking to some of the players at the end of the Wellington game, Lawrence has looked fairly good in training and scored a fantastic goal last week. So we need to get him in the side ASAP.
Be the most Glory thing ever if he got sent home on a plane quicker than you'd say Big John. Yeah. I think we can't pin our hopes on somebody who hasn't played for ages and hasn't kicked the ball in the A-League yet. There's 31 or 2 other players.
Yeah,
and some of them have come in with high hopes from clubs like Bozanovsky, for example.
True.
Didn't really do much for me at the weekend, given how much he was talked up. I'm sure there's a good player in there, but didn't really see it. And I know it's still early days, but there are other players there that we can't be just saying, it'll all be fine when Tom Lawrence. Like when we used to say it'll be all right when Diego Castro comes back and has a 8-week preseason and it's Christmas. We can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
There should be enough there.
No, fair enough. Sydney FC, Central Coast, James.
Sydney should respond with a win.
If Sydney don't win this, then there is real worry.
Yeah.
A draw.
Oh, damn.
I think Sydney's going to be. I think Sydney's going to be too strong. I think Central Coast pulled something out last week.
I think the Mariners are going to win the wooden spoon, but I still think they'll get a result.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Wellington, Brisbane.
Next.
Draw.
I'm going to go Brisbane.
I think Brisbane are doing all right things at the moment.
Yeah. Making the right noises.
2-1 Brisbane. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, I'm going to go Brisbane. And on a Monday, MacArthur, Adelaide.
Draw.
MacArthur.
MacArthur, yeah.
Yeah, MacArthur for me. Boys, I thought we'd just reflect on last week's burning questions and see if we've found the answers to these. James, Jackson's question was, does Tom Lawrence get minutes? We know the answer to that. The answer is no.
We can ask the same thing this week too.
We could. We can keep that rolling. James asked, can Perth win by a margin of 2 or more?
Well, we were looking on track for that, and then we fucked it up. So, yeah, there goes that prediction.
And Blayne asked, will travel be a factor for Bayswater City and their opponents? Jury's still out on that, I think.
What is their travel? How many days do they go for?
It looks to be, well, from what I've seen, it looks to be that they're going to play most of their games Bayswater on a Sunday. So it's out Saturday, back maybe Sunday night, Monday.
Yeah, it's a killer.
So,
not exactly staying over for a jolly.
The teams actually have to come over here and do exactly the same thing. So that was
I know. There are away games, yes.
No.
Yes.
But that was
yes,
my thing.
no,
If they can handle the travel better than their opponents.
It's a short turnaround no matter, because the reason I ask is because they've got jobs.
Yeah.
It's not that they have to go to work on Monday.
Yeah.
It's the old Sunday league thing when someone kicks you, you've got work tomorrow. They do, and they've got to fly across the other side of the country to do it.
Yeah.
So it's a big commitment.
No, it is, especially as semi-pro players. James, burning question for the week.
How does David Zdrilic tinker with the team's approach for when they go away to play an energised Melbourne City?
Ooh.
I'll go more specific and say, does he switch up the 3-4-3 and bring in an extra midfielder to give some assistance in the centre of the park?
Bear in mind that Melbourne City had 63% possession away to the Wanderers last week. Can Glory get above 30% possession
36.
in that game? Will they? Because
30%.
you look at the midfield for City, Truan, Leckie, Kuhn. That the good ball players.
They'll have overloads in that middle area.
They've got good ball players in there. So if you play 2 against those 3, I think you're in for a bad time. So can Glory get above 30% possession?
My question's around Ange and where does he end up next? I've just really got no idea. I think that's probably his time in the Prem.
Bundesliga.
He's definitely done in the Prem. He won't get another Premier League job. Not a chance. Not a chance. I always thought he would go somewhere. I don't even think he got that high. I always thought it'd be somewhere like the Eredivisie or maybe Belgium, somewhere like that. And that would be.
Does he go back to Scotland?
They're not happy with Brendan Rodgers,
no, they're not.
Well, Rodgers is going at the end of the season, I would say. They've had a bad start to the season. Interestingly, Ronnie Delia, another former Celtic manager, was sacked from Atlanta United yesterday. So there's a few of them in the mix, old boys that could go back. But I think they would welcome him back with open arms. But is that good for him to go back? Would it be good?
I mean, if he goes there and then wins something big.
Like what? The Scottish League? What else are you going to win?
Well, I mean, I don't know, a Europa or something like that.
Absolutely no chance. Sorry, no chance. No chance of.
I don't know. As I said, that'd be the only thing that would get a bit of redemption for him. But that's the question. So it's a bit of a long termer. But where does he end up next?
There is a question on the socials that came in last week. And it's tweaked a little bit because it came in before the game at the weekend from Callum Ware. But it was around Glory. If Glory win 2 of their 3 matches at home, I guess they could still do that because they'd win the next 2.
Yep.
And get a point against victory, get a point against victory. Will the pitchforks be laid to rest for Zdrilic? So, first 3 home games, there are a couple of away games in there as well. What is the pass mark? And even the 6 home games out of 9 to start the season with, what does Zdrilic need to deliver to get people off his back?
Compelling performances and results. We're a final. They all.
But specifically, how many points out of say 27?
Oh, Jesus.
The first 9 games, 6 are at home, right? So 27 points are up for grabs. That takes you up to just past Christmas. What would he need to deliver to see out the end of the season?
He's got to win most of his home games.
It's got to be 15.
Yeah.
15 points.
But
out of 9 games, that's 4 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses.
Well, I mean, it's a 50% hit rate, which is 50% of more than what we got last season.
I'd be looking at
it's progress.
But I'd be looking at it more in terms of at the international break, because in terms of the first 4 games, I know it's pretty early. We get a good range in terms of we played teams that are shit and are going to be towards the bottom, and then we played teams that are going to probably be towards the top. So it's a good litmus test to see where we stack up. And
the thing is, though, realistically, I don't see any potential manager shift that early in the year. You would be looking at your January, February window.
I think that's too late.
Well,
Ange is available.
Fuck, he'd want to come here.
I don't think they could ever afford him. I don't think he'd have any interest personally. But what do we need? Forget sacking him, right? What does Zdrilic need to deliver to get a stay of execution?
You want to be close to winning to be able to that 50% mark, surely.
Yeah, and you'd want to be in and amongst with the top 6 in the finals race, so that we're not having to play a lot of catch up in the second half of the season where we've got a lot of our games away from home. We've got a block from February to March, which is all away, I think, 4 in a row.
And that's a massive factor, right?
Yeah.
That we do not expect to pick up many points, irrespective of who's in charge in a run like that. You're not expecting. You need, to use a cricket parlance, runs on the board, right?
Yeah.
You need to have them on by then, and this is your opportunity, right? 6 of the first 9 at home. It's been talked up. It's actually been talked up quite a bit.
Yeah.
So 6 of 9 at home, 18 points. Well, you're not winning all 6 because you drew the first one, so you've already dropped 2. There's 24 points left up for grabs in 8 games in that run.
15, probably.
Okay, I think you were dreaming, but
yeah.
I think they'd struggle to get above 12.
Well, it's like what I want to see, but then there's also realistically, because the evidence hasn't been very compelling either in the game against Wellington or even in pre-season. So,
yeah, I think they need to show us something anyway, and they did for half an hour, but
that can't be enough.
Football isn't 30 minutes, you know. And I did see people like only the score matters when it was 2-1. Like, who cares if they haven't got possession? Yes, but trends are there for a reason. And to your point, you said earlier, I don't hate XG. I just don't believe it's the be all and end all.
Yeah,
but there are possession stats. There's XG. There's all sorts. And if they're all going against you, or some of them are going against you, it doesn't necessarily matter what the score is after 50 minutes, because there's a very good chance you are going to not win the game, which is how it played out. You know, and that's the danger. So. I think, going full circle back to the game at the weekend, they need to show us something in an away game as well, that they could actually get points on the road, because that's always been the Achilles heel.
100% agree. Boys, let's wrap things up there. Don't forget to get your heads around the official Far Post Perth merchandise. Get over to the social media. Some fantastic samples are sitting all across our social media channels at the moment. All the links to buy them, they are superb. Some great designs there, courtesy of ID Athletic.
Also very reasonably priced.
Oh, they are. I mean, they're superb.
Because you know, I paid $25 more for a John Cena t-shirt last week.
Who?
Yeah.
Are you one of the many?
Yeah, I was on the yellows. I was on the yellow brigade.
There's so many.
I was on the we did ask that they give
them
out for free.
Talking about.
Asked that they give them out for free. There was so many. There were $70 a pop. They absolutely cleaned up on those
$70.
Yep,
for a t-shirt.
Yeah,
could have done them in my backyard. We could have gone to ID Athletic and got superb ones done for what are they going for? 45. About $45. So. Some brilliant designs, some Legends shirts. There's a Diego Castro ones. There's some icons. So we've really gone for the iconic kind of bits of Perth Oval, or
and also if anybody
HBF Park
wanted to put any requests for future designs, we're all ears. You know, it's about
we will put them together.
Get more Glory stuff out there.
They're great quality on AS colour t-shirts. So well worth it. And you can also get a. We're doing a run of limited edition playing kits, Far Post Perth playing kits, and you'll see them around. You'll be able to see them all over the socials as well. So have a bit of a look across the social media. Hit that link. Go to the online shop, and then you'll have them over the next few weeks. Big thank you to you, James Renton, Jackson Bassett, and Neil Sherwin. Going to wrap things up there. Don't forget to tell everyone about the podcast, now available on Spotify, on Apple and YouTube Music, and we'll see you next Tuesday for more on the Far Post Perth podcast.